Hi there, and welcome back to my channel, the place to be when it comes to gut health and overall well-being. So before we dive into today's video, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell just to make sure you stay updated on whenever I post a new video every Tuesday. So I wanted to focus on IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, this week, because IBS is, first of all, it is very common. It affects about 1 in 10 adults worldwide. But the good news is that today it can be very well managed with the right tools and strategies. And that is amazing and also very important because, and if you are listening right now, tuning into this video, if you have IBS, you know that it can cause a lot of anxiety and stress. It might mean you have to take time off from work, cancel plans with friends and family because of unpredictable flare-ups, and so on. And not everyone's IBS show up in the same way. So symptoms can vary from person to person. And also in terms of what kind of foods and so on that you can handle also differs from person to person. But there are a few things in general that can be really amazing as good strategies for relieving IBS symptoms. And so these three are the ones that I wanted to bring up today. So number one is psyllium. So psyllium is a dietary fiber and is really amazing. And it's amazing for a lot of different reasons, but when it comes to IBS, it's really great because it works very well for both if you're having diarrhea dominating IBS, but also constipation dominating IBS. So it works in the way that it can harden soft stool, but it can also soften hard stool when you're having constipation. So really what it does, it helps to normalize your stool. And since psyllium is a very concentrated fiber, it's good to start slowly, and especially if you're having a sensitive gut. So if you're having a sensitive gut, it can be good to start with 1 teaspoon a day, and otherwise you can start with 1 tablespoon. And then you can just experiment and see what works for you, but maybe in the second or third week you can go up to 2 tablespoons per day. And you can mix it in your porridge, in your smoothie, in your soup. But what's also really important is that for each tablespoon of psyllium, you also want to make sure that you get at least 150 milliliters of water in your system. And number 2 is peppermint oil. And compared to a lot of other herbal supplements, peppermint oil has been very well studied. And peppermint oil is an antispasmodic, so it relieves muscle spasm, especially in the gut. So really what it does is that it helps to relieve a tense intestine, which is very common with IBS. And with that said, it can also help to relieve tummy pain, bloating, gas, and so on. And when it comes to how to consume it, it's best to take coated peppermint oil capsules. The coating makes sure that the oil gets into the small intestine, where it can really do its magic. And in terms of recommended intake, so studies recommend 1 capsule up to 3 times a day and 30 to 60 minutes before a meal or in general on an empty stomach. And there are a couple of brands that are usually used in studies, so I will just leave them in the comment section in the description if you're interested in taking a peppermint oil capsule. And third and final thing is yoga. And yoga is really a practice of the mind-body connection. And here we're also getting into the gut-brain connection and the strong relationship between the brain and the gut. And so yoga is, in general, a very good stress management tool, which is also very beneficial for our gut. And yoga can really help with a distressed gut in the sense that the breathing activates the rest and digest response. So it gets you into, again, a very relaxed state of mind. But yoga is also a way to learn how to breathe through discomfort. Discomfort like tummy pain, bloating, excess gas, and so on. So instead of answering to these symptoms by getting stressed out or feeling anxious, you want to breathe through them instead, because anxiety and stress will just trigger the symptoms even more. And finally, the flowing movements in yoga also send signals to your intestines to calm the stimulation of the gut muscles and nerves. And in 2018, there was a study done in Germany where it was shown that yoga and a low FODMAP diet had the same positive impact on people with IBS. So basically, there were two groups. One group was practicing yoga for X amount of weeks. One group was on the low FODMAP diet. And at the end of the study, both groups showed the same improvements in symptoms. So that also shows the positive effect that yoga can have on, especially on IBS symptoms. And with that said, I will also share a short and sweet yoga practice that I have with a focus on gut health and especially relieving gut disorder symptoms. So I'm gonna leave that up here and also in the description below. And with that said, thank you for joining this video. And I would love to know if maybe you've already tried some of these strategies, and I would love to know how they worked out for you. Or if you're curious to try some of these out, let me know in the comments below. So with that said, I will see you next week again.